July 19, 1943. For more than 2 millennia, Rome stood as a monument to human civilization, art, and faith, earning the timeless moniker of the Eternal City. While total war raged across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific, the skies above the Italian capital had remained miraculously untouched by the devastation of modern conflict. But on this hot summer morning, the illusion of immunity is shattered forever. For the first time in the Second World War, the morning sky over Rome darkens with the menacing silhouettes of hundreds of Allied aircraft. A massive strategic operation has begun, specifically targeting the vital rail yards, manufacturing plants, and military infrastructure nestled near the heart of the Italian capital. The alarms wail across the historic piazzas, and as the first thunderous explosions rock the ancient soil, a terrifying reality sets in. The total war of the 20th century has truly arrived at the gates of the Eternal City.
To understand why this fateful mission was ordered, we must analyze the agonizing strategic dilemma and intense debate faced by the Allied High Command. For years, the Allies had intentionally avoided striking Rome, deeply aware of the immense cultural, historic, and religious significance the city held for millions of people worldwide. A single stray bomb hitting the Vatican or the Colosseum could spark an international public relations disaster and alienate Catholic populations across the globe. However, as the Allied campaign advanced into Sicily, Rome could no longer be ignored. This chapter explores the critical tactical goal driving the mission, disrupting the massive, efficient rail networks supplying German and Italian reinforcements to the southern front lines. Rome had become a massive logistics hub for the Axis defense. Allied planners had to balance the deep political and religious sensitivities of the mission against the brutal military necessity of protecting their own advancing troops, concluding that the war could not be brought to a swift end without choking off the industrial heart of Italy.
When the order was finally given, the scale of the operation was staggering, deploying an immense force of over 500 Allied bombers, including B-17s and B-24 Liberators, escorted by swift fighter aircraft. The crews were given incredibly strict orders to maintain absolute precision, instructed to strike only designated industrial zones and avoid the historic center at all costs. But in the chaotic reality of high-altitude aerial warfare, absolute precision is a dangerous myth. We discuss the devastating impact of the bombing raid, where hundreds of tons of high explosives rained down on the San Lorenzo rail yards. While the target was heavily damaged, the surrounding civilian infrastructure suffered catastrophic damage. The ancient basilica of San Lorenzo outside the walls was severely hit, and nearby working-class neighborhoods were turned to rubble, leaving over 1,000 civilians dead. The raid delivered an immense, shattering psychological shock to the Italian population, who realized their government was completely powerless to protect even the holy capital from the skies. The smoke had barely cleared from the ruins of San Lorenzo before the political shockwaves began to fracture the nation's leadership. The first bombing of Rome acted as a definitive, historic turning point for Italian morale, breaking any remaining public support for the war effort and accelerating the ultimate downfall of the fascist government. Just hours after the raid, Pope Pius XII courageously left the safety of the Vatican to visit the bombed neighborhoods, comforting the wounded and standing as a symbol of authority while the political elite hid in fear. We examine how this single day signaled the profound desperation and collapse of the Axis powers as the harsh realities of the war shifted directly onto their own domestic soil. The vulnerability of Rome shattered the political legitimacy of Benito Mussolini. Just 6 days later, the Grand Council of Fascism voted to remove Il Duce from power, leading to his swift arrest and triggering a dramatic sequence of events that would eventually pull Italy out of the Axis alliance entirely, turning the nation into a bitter battlefield between occupying German forces and advancing allies. More than 8 decades later, the first bombing of Rome remains a stark, deeply challenging example of the immense human and ethical costs associated with modern aerial warfare. It stands as a powerful reminder of the delicate balance between achieving cold military objectives and preserving the priceless cultural heritage of all mankind. The scars on the streets of San Lorenzo still tell the story of the day the war claimed the Eternal City. As we look back on this critical turning point in World War II, how do you assess the balance between urgent military objectives and the preservation of irreplaceable cultural history?
Should ancient cities ever be considered legitimate targets if they house vital enemy logistics? Or must certain sites remain entirely off-limits, regardless of the strategic cost? Let us know your detailed thoughts, ethical perspectives, and historical insights in the comments section below. If you found this rigorous historical deep dive valuable, please hit the like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history. Tap the notification bell so you never miss a chapter. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in our next exploration of the moments that shaped our world.